Alright, here are the instructions that I want you to follow today for making test tiles. We're going to be making these for our glaze unit. Eventually you're going to be test firing some of your new glaze recipes, and we need a simple little tile that we can dip into the cup and test the glaze in the kiln and see how it works out. So I'm just going to show you how to make these. They're pretty easy. I have some examples here of test tiles that we've made previously. The ideal thing is that they fit into one of these small plastic cups. So I'm going to leave this cup on the sink for you, and then you can kind of see the tile will fit easily into the cup. So the size of it needs to fit into that cup pretty easily. So we don't want to go too big, and I will also leave these sample tiles for you to look at so you can get kind of the right size that will fit in the cup. So I'll leave these on the sink for you so you can look at those as you're building your tiles today. But basically the tile needs to have several features. So I have a piece of clay here that I just cut off the block. I'll leave the block of clay for you on the sink. And the easiest way to do this is to kind of make a block, and then I'm just trying to get the whole block to stand up like this. And I can just pinch it myself, or I can pound it. But I want to get it about pinky thick so that it's about the size of our project. So you can see right now it's still pretty thick. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually just going to cut some slices off of it, like so, and then I can take this one piece and then I can mold this into a test tile. So I'm flattening it out until it's about pinky thick, and then I'm also going to make the base nice and wide and stable so that it will stand up in the kiln. So you can see it's got kind of a flared base on it here, so it's nice and stable. It's not going to tip over in the kiln. They don't really have to look pretty, they just have to fit in the cup. And I do like to get some of the sharp edges off, so I smooth them a little bit, kind of clean them up a little, and just trimming it up some like this. And then I've got my thickness. You can see here it's about pinky thick, and that's what we would normally leave our pots, so that's a good thickness. So now that I've got the test tile kind of formed, the last thing, or a couple of the things I want to do, I want to leave some ridges in it. So I'm going to take this wood knife and I'm just going to press some ridges in. What that's going to do is let us know if this glaze does anything interesting when it goes into kind of a ridge or across a ridge. So I always try to put some ridges in my test tiles to see what the glaze does in those ridges. Sometimes the color changes, it does something interesting. So we want to put those on one side, and then the other side we just want to leave that kind of flat and smooth. So just look it over. It doesn't have to look pretty. We just want it to look kind of like a finished piece of clay, so that it's going to take the glaze just like one of your projects would. So maybe smooth it just a little bit there. And then the last thing to do is make sure it stands. Okay, again, make sure this is vertical. It's not leaning one way or the other where it might tip in the kiln. Just get it straight up and down. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to poke a hole through it right about here, just above the base. And I just take my fettling knife and just drill that out to make a hole all the way through it. And what that is later, if we end up using this tile, we can put a wire through that hole and hang it onto a bucket. So those of you who have used the glazes before, you know there's a little test tile attached to the bucket, and so that's why we make that hole. Okay, so then the tile is done. What you want to do though is make sure all of the tiles in your group look similar. We want to make sure they're the same thickness, about the same height, about the same width, so that they all kind of match for your group. And then one more thing we want to do for your group is on the bottom here somewhere, I would like you to make some sort of mark that's just for your group. So I'm going to do this. I'm just going to put 3 dots, and that means that all my group's tiles will have 3 dots. Now I'm going to warn you, since I'm showing you in the video 3 dots, let's not have every group do 3 dots. So come up with something original, but that's just the one. So all of my tiles would have 3 dots in it, and then I would know when they come out of the kiln, those are the tiles my group made. When you're finished, you're going to set all 20 tiles onto a bat like this, and there should be room for 20 of them on this bat. And then at the end of the period, I'd like you to take that bat and try to find some place in the kiln room. I know it's kind of crowded back there, but just find a flat surface that you can set that bat on, and then your team can have their test tiles drying out over the weekend. So those are the instructions for making test tiles. It's pretty simple and straightforward. Like I said, just get the thickness right, make sure they're stable, they're not wobbly. You've got the ridges on one side and you've drilled the hole through it and then marked your team symbol on the bottom. That's it. Have fun.